So hello everyone, welcome here to round number 2 of the 2017 NASA RallyCross Challenge season presented by AMSOIL. And if we thought we had a thrilling race last week in the Netherlands, we are up to receiving another great race today. As it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call as always for the Automotive Sports Network. And the tale between the teammates have been a storyline for a while. You saw Erdman drive right past his teammate as these guys came to blows last week in Valkenswaard. Here's the format for today's race. We're going to have 10 cars, so we'll have 2 quarterfinals of 6 laps apiece. Joker once, the winner advances. The remaining 8 cars to the 2 semifinals. Joker once, 4 laps, the winner advances. Everyone else at the LCQ, 3 laps, Joker once, for a 6-car final. 8 laps, Joker twice. So Erdman's going to be on pole here. I believe we're waiting for Arnold Columbia to arrive to the grid. Car number 39, the Canadian, in the private Great Lakes Motorsports car. Coming into today's race, Mertz holds the red plate for being the championship leader. Erdman lost that last week, as the defending champion for the first race always holds the red plate. So we're waiting on Columbia. Here he is in car number 39. He will grid up second. Then we will have Zach Johnson, it looks like, in the 527, and Dylan Smith in the Rockstar Energy car, the yellow and purple car, car number 22. Mertz actually is going to grid up in third here. It's a tricky track here in Munich. We saw last season this was the demise of MRT's perfect season as Revolution Racing and Chris Wetz were able to sneak the victory away. Getting ready for the first quarterfinal. Revving them up here in Munich, Germany. Launch control being set. Engines being revved up. Getting ready to go. It's lights out and away we go. And off the line it's going to be Erdman followed by Mertz off the line past Smith, Columbia, and Johnson into turn 1. Very long turn 1. Apex has a wall there. You don't want to end up hitting it. Whole shot goes to Erdman. Followed by Mertz, Smith, Columbia, and Johnson. Into turn 3, Mertz thought about it, couldn't get anything done. His teammate will lead onto the backstretch for the first time. Remember, the winner transfers in this event, so it's going to be a duel between the teammates. And no one has mastered the 6-speed gearboxes yet, so it's going to be interesting. Dylan Smith close behind the teammates, and the 2 privateers having their own little battle. We're going to see no jokers on the first lap of the race. Off of the final corner, Erdman will lead, followed by his teammate. And if we thought that this battle was going to go away, we thought we'd be crazy. As Erdman and Mertz dueled all season long last season. Hagenstein had a little bit of the dueling there. But Tristan has had a bit of a struggle with the 6-speed gearbox. But these two looks like they have adapted and overcame any adversity that was handed to them. So it looks like Mertz has clawed a little bit of the gap back. Dylan Smith has fallen back a little bit. Last lap was a 51.826 given the start here. So we're going to see as Mertz jokers in the 2. So one of the Subarus will be put out front in the quarterfinal. He has run a 50.033. Fastest man on the circuit is car number 2. But the Delta is already gone as his teammate nearly drives into the back of car number 2. A little bit of a politics game being played between these guys as they realized last season they are best of friends, but they really cannot race for a championship. And we expect the pressure to be ramped up ever more, as Mertz has never been car number 2 until this season. So we finally had a different champion. We had Livingood, Lambert, and Mertz, for all these years, and Erdman finally holds car number 1, and it's very unfamiliar territory. So we're on lap number 3. Erdman does not joker. Cross flags. being shown for Mertz in car number 2. He has no delta now, but he's sliding through turn 1. Contact nearly between them. They do make contact, and it looks like that might be a penalty box visit for car number 1, sorry. We're going to come to 2 laps to go. It looks like Erdmann stopped and waited, but I'm not sure what that will be deemed, as Mertz was all over the track. He's never been able to gel here with Munich ever since we started racing here in 2014B. Let's see what he does to his teammate to try and take the fight. No, he doesn't, but he cuts the track there. A little bit of a track limits on car number 2. And Erdmann will hold the lead, coming to 2 laps to go. Let's see when he will joker. He does not joker. I think he's waiting for the final lap. He already has the lead anyways, so it really does not matter. 2 to go for Erdmann. Smith still holding 3rd, so a very processional race here as the privateers are still struggling. It's Columbia v. Johnson. Let's go to the back of the field here. Yeah, Johnson's all by himself in the 5th spot, struggling in the 527. Columbia is struggling as well. And it's really just the battle between these guys. And Dylan Smith has run his own little quiet race here in the quarterfinal. Not really been bothered by anybody. Has the young German following Josh Mertz in car number 2. But we're coming to the white flag here in Munich. And still about 45 seconds left, as Erdmann did. My apologies there, guys. Erdmann did take to the penalty box. So this puts Mertz through to the lead in quarterfinal 1. Now this is going to get interesting because I don't believe Smith is jokered. White flag in Munich. As Erdmann was deemed to have turned him more than 90 degrees, obviously enough. And the race control is trying to clamp down, on people turning somebody and then stopping and claiming that as the penalty box. As yes, that's the gentlemanly thing to do, but the people around you are not going to stop. So that compromises both of your races and potentially could wad the field up. Off of the hairpin, down the backstretch near the penalty box for the final time here in quarterfinal 1. It looks like Mertz has a decent gap, but I don't know if Smith is jokered yet. We'll see on the 22. He has not jokered, so the Germans will switch spots, and Dylan Smith sneaks away with quarterfinal 1 victory and 2 bonus points here in Munich. So good way to start for Revolution Racing today, as Smith wins over Mertz. As it was announced earlier today in the drivers' meeting that I believe, unfortunately, Tristan Hagenstein might be in his final season of the NASA RallyCross Challenge. And if that becomes true, the seasoned veteran finally got his first victory and the monkey off his back in Riverside. He can just go out and have some fun today. On pole, Wetz, Hagenstein, Lester, Kraus, back row is living good. Grid for the quarterfinal. Everybody getting lined up and ready to go. Revving them up for the quarterfinal. Who will win this race? 6 laps. Joker wants, lights out, and away we go. And off the line, whole shot goes to Hagenstein at the start-finish line of car number 3. Wetz and Livingood on the inside. Area 52 teammates on the outside in the Citroens. Into turn 1 for the first time. Hagenstein holds it. He let the door open for Wetz, but Wetz didn't take it. Contact nearly between Kraus and Livingood. And into turn 3, the Revolution Racing teammates nearly came together. The left of 4 over the berm and down the back straightaway. The Dutchman leads the American, Canadian-American. Lester in 5th there. Looks like he had a little bit of an issue. Into the hairpin for the first time as well. Kraus over the berm. Track limits 19. Into turn 6. And into turn 7. Jokering on the first lap is Livingood in car number 51. This will put him side by side with Hagenstein, but Hagenstein holds the lead at the first lap as Livingood already completes his joker. That's going to be interesting because he did not have the delta to beat Hagenstein. And now, is he going to be holding up his teammate? Politics are a huge thing in this series. Wetz is quicker than Livingood, I do believe. 51.967 was his last lap. Of course, that was faster because of his joker. We'll see updated lap times in a moment. Living Good peeks to the inside of car number 3, does not have a move. Well, now he does. It's Hagenstein overdrove the corner, nearly contact between them, but Hagenstein holds the lead. Running order has not changed. Kraus 4th, Lester 5th, Wetz in 3rd. Nobody jokers on the second lap of the event, as the Dutchman holds the lead. He's holding strong in car number 3. Last lap for Living Good, 52.859, 52.725 for Hagenstein in car number 3. Can he hold the lead and win the quarterfinal? Is the big thing. Like I said, Living Good already took his joker, so that his strategy's unraveled, and I think at this point you can consider him holding up the rest of the field, because I believe you need about a second or so on the Delta, and he's got more than a second on Wetz. So coming across flags for car number 3, Tristan Hagenstein. He will not joker. Very wide exit of turn number 6. And out of 7, cross flags, the Dutchman still leads. Nobody has jokered yet. This is interesting. This tense strategy game between the teammate, or between the rivals, I should say. I'm sorry. So last lap was a 52 flat. I believe Living Good was faster than him. He's closed the gap up. He's just playing cat and mouse with him right now, as Hagenstein knows that the 21 has not jokered yet. I mean, he's really just lingering in the background as Wetz trying to claw the gap back. We're coming to 2 laps to go this time. Over the berm goes both of them, very scrappy in the hairpin, and Living Good is there along with Wetz. The gap is no more for Tristan Hagenstein. Contact between the teammates again, and where have we seen that before? Too many times, and contact with Living Good and Kraus. 2 laps to go, and the Canadians come together. So now, damage on the 21, the 19, the 23, sorry. And all that pressure that I was building up on Tristan Hagenstein is gone. And Casey Lester looks like he has damage as well. So all cars, except for the 3, have damage, as we have a little bit of a mini big one here in Munich. We're going to come to the white flag, and all pressure is now off the shoulders of car number 3. As he's going to joker now. He has the Delta. And white flag for Hagenstein. As I don't think these guys are done. As you know, intent wrecking is not encouraged. But he does give the spot back. And that destroyed Mitsubishi of car number 21. I'm not sure how he can see over that bent hood, but more power to him. Over the jump on the backstretch, past the pit gantries. As he had his own little battle. He didn't battle with his teammates, but he had his own little battle here, and he overcame everything past the penalty box. He did not have to visit there. But it was the other set of teammates coming together this time. But Tristan Hagenstein is the beneficiary of this. He got the whole shot off the line, beat the Revolution teammates, and he wins quarterfinal 2 here in Munich. Now, Wetz jokers in car number 23. And he will just let his teammate through. He had to joker because of the rules, but he just let his teammate finish second. Wetz 3rd, Kraus 4th, Lester 5th. So, Erdmann, Columbia, then Mertz on pole. This is going to be interesting. That's not a very good run into turn 1. It's better on the outside. And Johnson. 4 laps, joker once. And once again, the winner will advance and transfer. They do get a bonus point as well. Revving them up. Getting ready to go for the second semifinal. It's lights out and away we go. Off the line, whole shot to Erdmann. Into turn 1, teammates coming together again. And Mertz is not going to play nice. 2 leads 1 out of turn number 1 into turn number 2. Still side by side are Mertz v. Erdmann. Turn 3, it looks like he finally gets the advantage over his teammate. Erdmann on the outside. Can he hold it? Mertz hits the berm on the back straightaway. He blocks his teammate. This is fantastic as he sends his teammate to the inside. Erdmann gets the advantage into turn 4, into the hairpin, but will Mertz fight back in car number 2? He tries to, but he hits the berm, and around goes car number 2, and we can count out that battle right now. So now, Erdmann's going to have a nice run to the semifinal win, unless Mertz goes crazy. 3 to go. Johnson and Mertz joker. And he hit the berm, and he tried to compensate for the horrible run he had off of turn 4. It did not work. Erdmann got to the inside, and that's all she wrote. Johnson is now in 4th, got passed by Mertz. Columbia holds 2nd. That should be an easy pass, as the privateer doesn't have the speed in the car like the factory team. And Columbia nearly missed the jump there. That was confusing. But the Great Lakes Motorsports Ford privateer entry versus the Red Bull Subaru MRT factory racing entry. Work-supported cars as cross flags for Erdmann here in car number 1. The manufacturer-supported cars v. some privateers. They basically buy their car off the lot and just modify it and race. But these are purpose-built cars for MRT, for Revolution Racing, and so on and so forth. All the teams we've seen over the years. And Mertz, did he loop it again? No, he kind of slid. I know he's struggling a little bit. And it looks like he's just parked it. Mertz has just parked the car. Johnson struggling in the 527, Columbia in the 39. I don't know what entirely happened, but Mertz just parked it. He pulled to the side, got out, and just quit. That's strange. So that whole thing I told you about Mertz potentially clawing the gap back doesn't exist anymore. White flag for Erdmann. And he's got the smooth sailing. He has no competition. Columbia Jokers versus Johnson. Johnson spins again. I don't know if there's something wrong with the track or not. People have been spinning all over the place today, and we're only in the first semifinal. Turn 4 to the backstretch goes Cody Erdmann. Over the jump, under the bridge, and past the gantries. Into the hairpin. Looks like he had a little bit of an issue like his teammate did. He almost did that. Into turn 6 and into turn 7. A very easy victory for Cody Erdmann in the semifinal, and he gets 1 bonus point here in Munich. Now we are waiting for Arnold Columbia to finish up in car number 39. The Canadian will be sent to the LCQ along with Zach Johnson and Josh Mertz. That's a very weird thing to say, is Josh Mertz in the LCQ. And here comes Johnson, the journeyman of NASA Rallycross, across the line to finish 3rd. Now it's time for the second semifinal. I may have said that on the grid for the first semifinal. You can tell I haven't done this in a while. Living Good will start on pole, I believe, in car number 21, unless Wetz, who has looped it on the formation lap. But we've seen wackier things from Chris Wetz over the years. He will be on pole position, it looks like, and he will take pole position. Because there's a difference between the gridding order and pole position. But the drivers have always been free to pick their grid choices. It actually used to be randomized in a hat. For the first ever race, Dylan Livingood sat in the pit lane with pieces of paper in a hat 5 years ago and told everyone, pick your number and that will be your grid position. Wetz is on pole, Kraus, Livingood, and Lester. So the same cars, like I said, from the first quarterfinal. Just like the first quarterfinal, the second quarterfinal is the same aside from Hagenstein. Getting ready to go for another 4-lap race. It's Mitsubishi versus Citroen, Revolution Racing versus Area 52, Living Good and Wets v. Lester and Kraus. 4 laps, Joker once, getting ready to go here in Munich. We're green for the second semifinal. Hole shot at the line. It looks like it was too close to call. I couldn't even call one. Contact between Kraus and Living Good into turn 1. He gave him a nice little bump out of the way. And another piece of contact between Lester and Kraus. That's going to send Lester to the penalty box and potentially Kraus to the LCQ. And a quick thing we've learned is if Philip Kraus gets angry, he gets possessed and suddenly becomes 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody else. Don't tell me how. But one of the common themes in NASA Rallycross is Chris Wetz v. Dylan Livingood for the Revolution Racing teammates. We have had so much entertainment from these guys over the years, and I mention this every single race show, but it never fails, just like the last quarterfinal. End of 1. Wetz leads. The man from Texas, who is the runner-up of this series twice, never sealed the deal in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Will today be his day, and will this year be his championship? We'll have to see over the next 10 weeks. Living Good, 4-time champion and 13-time race winner. This man has not won in 2 calendar years. He is very hungry for a victory, and he's going to hound his teammate to do so. Over the jump and into the hairpin. The Area 52 teammates still struggling. Kraus is 3rd, Lester 4th. Like I said, you can essentially write them off for this semifinal. We're coming across flags, and let's see if the strategy will unravel. Nearly contact. Living Good jokers now. Wetz historically likes to joker near the end of the race, so Living Good has to push now to hold that advantage. 2 to go. Wetz has always liked to joker at the end of the race, regardless if it's the final or the heat race. We saw last season here when he snuck the victory away from Cody Erdman. Erdman was on top of everybody. He was flawless all race except for running off the curbs twice, so maybe not so flawless. But Wetz jokered. Erdman did not cover the strategy. He thought about it, saw Wetz go to the joker, said a naughty word over the radio, and then Wetz stole the victory. So we'll see if he jokers now or if he jokers on the very last lap of the race. Out of turn 6 into 7. He does not joker now, so that means he will joker on the final lap of the race, and it's down to Living Good and his skill, white flag, to hold the gap for the Delta to get a bonus point. Otherwise, he has to go to the LCQ. Through 1, into 2. The gap has looked like it's shrank. You need about a second, and I don't think Living Good has it right now. Through 4, over the berm. You don't want to hit that too much because it'll slow the car. Don't hop up the left side tires over the jump, past the pit gantries. This is going to be interesting. Right the Area 52 boys off as they made contact between... Interestingly, actually, if I interrupt myself, the previous Area 52 cars made contact at this race last season. It was Taylor and Smith. But anyways, final corner, Wetz jokers. This is going to be interesting. Will they come together? No. Wetz wins the semifinal. As Living Good loops it, crossing the start-finish line. As it looks like Lester and Kraus have both parked their cars before they finish the race. LCQ time here in Munich. So it's going to be all down to this start. Because we know Living Good's great at the start. We know Mertz is great at the start. We know the Citroens are great at the start. And it's all down to the start in turn 1 because you launch and you go left, 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 and suddenly brake into a hairpin. So our grid for the LCQ as we're coming together, Mertz is on pole. On the second spot of the grid, it looks like we are waiting, I believe, for Casey Lester. Actually, Zach Johnson's going to fit in behind Mertz there. So it looks like we're going to have an empty second spot on the grid. It's Mertz, Living Good, Columbia, Johnson, Kraus, and Lester. Getting ready for 3 laps and 1 joker. Revving them up. Getting ready to go. for the LCQ here in Munich. 2 will transfer. One of the fast guys going home. Green flag. Hole shot at the line between Mertz and Livengood. It was Livengood by a hair, but Mertz has the advantage into turn 1. Kraus way on the outside on the groove there. Mertz side by side with Livengood into turn 1. Looks like he boxed out the 51 there a little bit, or 21, sorry, into turn number 2. It's Mertz, Livengood, Kraus. Mertz hit the berm there. Livengood takes to the inside, nearly makes contact with car number 2. Into turn 4, left hand over the berm. Livengood trying to fight from Mertz, sideways off the corner. That gives Kraus the advantage over the jump potentially. Side by side, Columbia flies off the jump and spins in the 39 into the hairpin. Red-plated Mertz, points leader, who won last week. Unfamiliar territory for him in the LCQ. Around is Lester in the 13 in the back of the shot. Take him out of the equation. All 3 will joker on the first lap, so eliminate the strategy with 2 laps to go. Mertz is sliding as Kraus hit the wall. So that changes everything. Kraus looked like he hit the wall, exiting the joker. And I think it's down to these guys to see who will get the better gate pick. Because Johnson cycles to 3rd, Columbia to 4th, Lester 5th, Kraus parks the car. I think, I looked out my commentary box window, I saw him open the door, rip the helmet cable, the radio cable off his helmet, and slam the door shut and walk back to the grid. But the marshals have tended to that car, so put Kraus in 10th. Like we mentioned, 1 lap ago, joker strategy's complete. Mertz will lead with the white flag in the air. And it's him and his best friend and rival, Dylan Livengood, in car number 21. Mertz has been struggling today, though. He's always struggled at this track, and it's not real. I'm not really sure why. He doesn't know why. But compared to his teammate, he does not have the pace, and it was evident earlier on in the show. Down the backstretch, past the pit gantries, I think I see Philip Kraus sitting on the Area 52 gantry. They're getting ready to pack up everything, as regulations state you cannot pack up everything until the end of the LCQ. And what was hopefully going to be a dramatic LCQ turned out not to be. Off the final corner, it's going to be Josh Mertz winning the LCQ, and Dylan Livengood will transfer. Coming home in the 7th spot, and looks like winning the Privateer Cup for today's event in Munich, as Arnold Columbia loops it off the final corner. He will come home in the 7th position, 3rd in the LCQ. Looks like Casey looped the car, or maybe rolled the car, as he was ahead of Zach Johnson there. Johnson goes by him for the 8th spot. So Zach Johnson will be 2nd on the Privateer podium, as we only have the 2 cars here today. Johnson will be 8th, Casey is 9th, and Philip Kraus in 10th. Final time. This is going to be very enticing, as just like last week, it is MRT versus Revolution Racing, as the 3-car squads holding this stranglehold on the series. This is going to be good. Every car here is fast, and every car here is now a race winner. We were going to exclude, we would exclude Tristan Hagenstein about a season ago, as he didn't win a race, but now that's irrelevant. Pole goes to Dylan Smith, Hagenstein 2nd, Wetz 3rd, Erdman 4th, Mertz will line up 5th, and Dylan Livengood in 6th. Lining up behind the teammates are each other. Getting ready to go, 8 laps, joker twice, for round number 2 of the 2017A NASA Rallycross Challenge season. Glad you could join us on the Automotive Sports Network. As we don't know who's going to win. We always say that, but realistically here, with this grid, it's unpredictable. Revving them up. Getting ready to go. Thank you for joining us here in Munich, Germany, for the German Grand Prix for NASA Rallycross. It's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, the whole shot at the start-finish line will go to Dylan Smith. Rounding into turn 1, 4 wide, sandwiching Wetz was the MRT boys. Into turn number 1, Dylan Smith will lead. Looks like Livengood and Hagenstein made contact. Over the berm goes Hagenstein in car number 3. This is going to leave Dylan Smith leading Erdman, Wetz, Mertz, Hagenstein, and Livengood. The MRT boys side by side. Erdmann will go to the lead, or battle for the lead, with his fellow German off of turn 4, but he can't make it happen over the jump past the pits for the first lap. Into the hairpin. Let's see who will Joker coming to the Joker in a few corners here. Mertz is sliding it. Livingood sliding it in the back of the shot there in car number 21. Who will go where for the decision on the first lap of the race? It looks like nobody out of the top 4, but Livingood and Hagenstein will. Smith leads at the end of lap 1. Contact between the teammates! And it's not the two teammates we expected. It was Hagenstein and Mertz. Mertz lights it up in car number 2. Very disappointed. I believe that's a penalty box visit for car number 3. This doesn't change the sharp end of the grid, but this certainly changes the red plate fight up here in Munich, as Dylan Smith still holds the lead. It looked like that was just an error of judgment on Tristan Hagenstein's part. It is in the regulations that the merging car, it's their responsibility, and it looks like he just didn't pay attention to what was around him. As Hagenstein will Joker in car number 3. At the end of lap 2, the running order does not change, but Erdmann looks like he lost a little bit of ground, and Livingood's around in the 21. So add insult to injury for the Champions Day. And look at this battle between Smith and Erdmann. Smith ran it wide in turn 1, it looked like, nearly got drilled by Erdmann, and a lead change for car number 1, the first time we've seen him out front all season. Except for the quarterfinals. I know you're going to make that point, guys, but it's okay. Hairpin. Erdmann, Smith, Wetz, podium. Erdmann does the same thing he did last season here, and he runs it wide over the berm, coming to the end of lap number 3. Erdmann Jokers now in car number 1, and he holds the lead. We are beginning the halfway lap, and Dylan Smith, I believe, still has a Joker. Mertz Jokers again, so he's going to be put into this mix here. I'm not sure if he has one Joker left or if that was both of them. But I think he's going to play the game of battling with Wetz, because at this point it really doesn't matter what happens with him, as I think he is just in the mode of I don't really care. Erdmann still holds the lead over Dylan Smith, and Wetz, I think, is very angry in car number 23 because Mertz is not battling for the win. Livingood in 5th. Wetz has almost looped it there. Hagenstein still 6th. We're coming to cross flags. And will we see this again, where Cody Erdmann pulls away from the rest of the field for the 3rd race in a row in Munich, but he loses it again? Because we remember the last time we came here, he was gone from the rest of the field last season. And then a mistake on the last couple of laps gave the win to Chris Wetz. He could not make it 2 in a row. He won the inaugural race here, but he lost the last one. Let's see what happens. We're in the halfway point of the race. Let's reset the running order for you. It is Erdmann, followed by Dylan Smith. Josh Mertz has clawed his way to 3rd after looping it, well, from his teammate, on the first lap of the race. Chris Wetz, Dylan Livingood, Tristan Hagenstein. That's our running order. It is a German podium for the first 3 spots. I don't believe that a nationality has ever swept a podium. We saw MRT sweep it. Beginning lap 6, 3 to go for Cody Erdmann. Wetz Jokers, he pits the 2 car, so this puts Mertz back to 4th. And these guys are battling to the death for the podium spot. Mertz slides it and nearly makes contact with car number 23. And he's struggling, still struggling in car number 2. Everybody's struggling. Remember, this is the first track. Yes, we're 2 races in. We had a relatively fast, high downforce track. Now we have a tricky, still high downforce track, but it's a very lower speed compared to what we ran last week. So the setups on these cars are still not fine-tuned. We have a couple fast tracks coming in this season. We are going to Barcelona, Watkins Glen for the first time, back to Long Island. So it's going to be interesting. All season long, the ebb and flow of who can get the setup right. 2 laps to go for Erdmann. Smith is closing the gap, but I believe he has a Joker left. Wetz holds 3rd, then Mertz, Livingood, and Hagenstein. So running order has not changed. Can Erdman get his 14th career victory, or will Dylan Smith make it number 5? The fascinating battle between these guys. Who knows? We have a lap and a half left, and I think it may come down to a joker, because I believe that Dylan Smith has a joker left. I don't think Erdman does. We'll see, but that's the only way that Dylan Smith would be able to sneak this victory away. As Erdman was able to take the fight to him in turn 1, Dylan Smith slides it out of the hairpin there. This is going to get tricky. Coming to the white flag. There's Dylan Smith jokering now, so he did have the joker left. White flag for Dylan Smith. No, it was Erdman at the line. Side by side are the two Germans into turn 1. Erdman left a little bit of a hole, but Dylan Smith took the gap, and he shoved him out wide. That was a legal maneuver as Dylan Smith holds the lead. Wetz and Mertz are still battling for third, so very entertaining battle for all 3 spots on the podium. Mertz holds it. Dylan Smith holds the lead. And this is fascinating here in Munich. Let's see what will happen in the final couple of corners. Erdman slides it. I think that seals it for the race win. And for the 2nd season in a row and the 3rd race in Munich, he won't get it done. Dylan Smith left his jokers on the last possible second, and he will win his 5th career race in NASA RallyCross, beating Cody Erdman here in Munich, and the joker goes to Wetz for 3rd as he beats Mertz. Livengood comes home in 5th, and Hagenstein, after that disappointing event on the first lap of the race, will come home in the 6th spot. But it's down to this man who wins in Munich. As 7th place was Zach Johnson, 8th place Arnold Columbia, 9th place Casey Lester, and 10th place Philip Kraus. This gives Mertz a 2-point lead as he holds the red plate going into Spain and Barcelona next week. But congratulations to Dylan Smith, the young German who has been a journeyman. We've mentioned that about multiple drivers here in this series, but win number 5 for Dylan Smith for Revolution Racing, and that ruins the potential perfect season for MRT again. But tune in next week in Barcelona to see what will happen, and hopefully we'll have a fascinating battle there as well. But from everyone here at ASN, congratulations to Dylan Smith, and so long, everyone.